Hugh, I had a couple of notes here. One that I liked was that you mentioned earlier on about resilience and how we can train that. So what sort of techniques have you guys been using? Because obviously it can be quite lonely, like you were saying, like goals can go in and then for another like 20, 30 minutes, you might not touch the ball again. So you're just there, you and your thoughts. So what sort of techniques have you guys incorporated or experimented with to develop resilience?
So we've worked with we've got a sports psychologist. We're very lucky at that point, by the way. Not every club's got one, and it's the first club I've had with a sports psychologist, and that's been really interesting. So we sat down with them and said, look, this is the issue we've got, that when something goes in, it's head goes. How do we solve it? Then they give us a few. So they worked with her and said, this is so we'll work with her and we'll try and get that. All right, okay, cool. And they said, think about your sessions as well. So we always tend to do it, and I was always massively guilty of it. Finish on a good one. Let's finish on a good one. Well, why? Because as you just said, you may never finish a game on a good one. It could be actually that's the top corner, and you never see the ball for the rest of the game. So we started to bring that more and more into sessions where if something did go wrong, we'd rotate straight away. And it may not have been the point that we wanted to as coaches, but we'd go right. We hit a good serve or whatever it's happened, and the ball's into the net, and you can see them getting annoyed. You go right, rotate, and they're like, "Whoa, hang on a minute! I want one. I want to finish in a good one. Nope, let's go." So we've didn't. It was difficult at the start. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't easy. We really, I wouldn't say struggled, but we really. It took a while to bring that buy-in from the players. But when they started to understand it and what we were doing, they bought into it. Now they're like, okay, you can see them thinking about it. If they either go and serve for us, we try and keep the goal. We've got 3 goalkeepers. We try and keep them involved during the session at all times. And you can see them when they're serving or they're doing a quick drinks, but you can see them still thinking it through. And then at that point, we'll go, well, what's up? What do you think? And it's that resilience that they then start to build it themselves. We also work with the sports psychologists. They've got a word. So they feel themselves getting angry. We shout a word at them, okay. And then they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm okay now." And it's one of those sort of triggers that we give. Yep. I'm not going to give what they give in case anyone gets us in a cup competition, but we give that word, and then they go, "Right, okay, forget that now. I'm back in the game." But that was we were massively lucky because we had the sports psychology to do that. But it's the putting the resilience into your sessions is what we've learned as coaches is don't always finish in a good one. Yep. Really put them in a comfortable zone. If they always want it in the hands, we'll play it to the feet just to see what they do. And just that natural, hang on, I don't like what you're doing, and see what they do. It's not easy, and you will annoy your goalkeepers, but it's that talking as well.
Yeah, I think it makes it more realistic, doesn't it? Like you touched on, you can't always finish how you want to. So, yeah, good stuff. I guess linking on from that then, Kevin here asks about the differences in how you might maintain a goalie's confidence versus an outfield player's confidence.
That's a great question, by the way. That's a really good question. How do you maintain a goalkeeper's confidence? That's different. So an outfield player will tend to get thanks for comment. That was a tough question as well, by the way. A goalkeeper will get a football at them possibly every 3 to 4 minutes in a game if they're lucky. An outfielder will, a centre midfielder is a great example. If a centre midfielder gets the ball and passes it and makes a bad pass, you can almost guarantee within a minute, maybe 2, that they'll get another chance to make another pass or another movement or affect the game in another way. The goalkeeper may not get that for some period of time. So the confidence thing is again, it's that resilience and showing them that yes, you made a mistake, but everyone makes mistakes. Yes, and we don't say that to the goalkeepers, or we try and phrase it in a different manner. But yes, you've done something that's led to a goal. Yes, that's happened, but you know what? And the one we always try and look at is it has to, and it's kind of playing a little trick with words. Yes, you've conceded a goal, but it had to go through 10 other players before it got to you. So therefore, you're not passing the buck, but you can then start to see them going, so it just wasn't all my fault. Yeah, there's bits of it were, but yeah, it wasn't all your fault. And you can see them starting to come into that, right, now I'm happy. And increasing that confidence. So, and how we also train is how we try and increase the confidence. So Tuesday traditionally tends to be a recovery day. but it's not really for goalkeepers. We call it recovery day, but it would be different to what outfielders would call recovery. You say out recovery, it's an outfielder, they're thinking, nice easy session. For us, a recovery session is recovering from Sunday, as in you may have done something that we need to tweak to make better. So that's what we would class as a recovery day. So that recovery day is key as well. So they may have dropped 3 crosses as an example. I seem to be obsessed with crossing today. It's because I've got a crossing practice tomorrow. They may have dropped 3 crosses, example. Well, actually, on Tuesday, we're going to build that confidence back up by delivering similar crosses, by having similar pressures on the go and allow them to come and claim and come and catch. And that rebuilding of confidence comes back because they've actually gone in, they've caught the football 3 times and they've wiped out whatever happened on Sunday. So that's the other way we do it. The demands of goal position can increase social and psychological pressures, 100%. How is this focused upon specifically? I think it's to be a goalkeeper, you need to be a special kind of person. And I don't mean that nastily. We've all met goalkeepers. We're all a little bit sort of tapped in the head. And I think that's just, it seems to attract those sort of people who can deal with the psychological element. We wouldn't be in the position if we couldn't. But it's going back to that. We tend to get one-to-one coaching. Let's be honest. It's goalkeeper. You've got. If I was asked a question within the group, you've probably got 2 coaches for every 6 outfielders, maybe, if you're lucky. But you've probably got 1 goalkeeping coach for 2 goalkeepers. So having that 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 coaching ability and that ability to chat to people is massive as well for the goalkeeper. And that gives you that social element, and it gives you that dealing with the psychological element. But it's also having the knowledge in yourself that you don't know everything. I will never ever be a psychologist. I'm not that intelligent. I will never ever understand S&C coaches and the nutritional aspects. I'll understand them obviously because we all know what's good for us to eat. But having those, not being afraid to go, do you know what? Can you have a chat to her because there's issues going on and I'm not sure what. Just can you have a quick chat? That's brilliant. The sports S&C guys, look, we need to develop a little bit more on a bit leg power because her diving technique's not great. We need to look at jump height because she's not quite getting that bar. So having the confidence to talk to other people, and also goalkeepers, we are a tight-knit union. So don't be afraid to go to the goalkeeping coaches and go, look, mate, what are you doing? I've got this issue. What would you do? And that also helps massively as well. So use your contacts, but use the other elements of your staff. And that's how you get those general hints and tips to focus on it specifically and develop that sort of all-round holistic goalkeeper. Hope that's answered your question.
Yeah, that was really good. He's followed.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Mohammed.
Yeah, I saw many times 3 types of goalkeeper. Number 1, short-stopping goalkeeper, playing goalkeeper, and sweeper goalkeeper. Which goalkeeper is more beneficial in a game?
So I'm gonna answer that question with a question, which is something you should never ever do, because it's really bad to answer a question with a question. But it depends on the game and it depends who you're playing. So if you've got a sweeper keeper, they could be absolutely outstanding with their feet, and will do that sweeping for you. But if you're playing a team, that you're going into a low block with, then there's no real need for a sweeper keeper because you're playing a low block, for example. If you're playing more of a mid or high block, then yeah, that's brilliant. Distributed goalkeepers, are always needed. So without meaning to sound like I'm not answering your question, it really, really depends on who you're playing. And again, going back to using your contacts, knowing what the opposition is likely to do, and what you're then planning to counter that opposition, which goes back to working with your outfield coaches. If you can work with your outfield coaches to understand how you're going to play in your next game, then you can develop your goalkeeper and which goalkeeper you're going to play accordingly. I know that's probably not answered your question properly, but have I give you a decent answer?
Yeah, thank you.
No worries.
I thought that's a good answer.
Yeah, it's a weird one, and we've got 3 that we have as well, and it's just knowing when you can use what goalkeeper and when. The chances are you always have a number 1, you always have number 2, and your number 3 you'll never ever is only there in case something happens. but you need to know that you might need to play actually your number 3, because it's you could be playing bottom of league, and I'm not being rude against bottom of league, sorry, but you could be playing a team that you actually just want to give them that experience of being in the first team, but you know they're never ever going to get any issues. So play your number 3, and that gives them that confidence of, wow, I've played for the first team. So it just, again, I wasn't trying to deflect the question, but it very much depends on the opposition from our point of view.
Makes sense. Yeah. Just going back here, Kenneth had a point about how the game's developing. So the role of the goalkeeper has developed over the years, and so has the goalkeeper coach. What do you think about the future if you were to look into your crystal ball?
I think it's going to be more integration. Where are we going with the game? So I think the game at the minute is very much playing out from the back, and you can look at that through a lot of how people are playing at the minute. So you look at it's how everyone's understanding that. So everyone's understanding now that teams want to play out from the back, and that teams want to essentially try and play through the thirds. I think in the future we're going to have to work out how to counter that. So teams now are high press, and teams are trying to stop that pass and that going through the goalkeeper. And I think we'll actually go back. I think we'll have to start developing goalkeepers that can actually start to play longer and understand when to play longer, because you're going to have to beat that press, and it's using your goalkeeper to beat that press. But again, to use that sort of, it's knowing whether you've got to look at the goalkeeper tends to be a little bit behind, because we look at how we're going to develop the game next, how we're going to do it as players, and then the goalkeepers catch up later. So we need to work out where the game's going from an outfield point of view. And it is that high, everyone's trying to high press, and everyone's trying to get that ball for that pitch. And I think from a goalkeeping point of view and looking at it, it's how I beat that high press. And it's that ability to get the ball back to my goalkeeper and then just straight into a player, and having that confidence and belief that we can do it, that I can actually, do you know what, you can throw your high press at me every day of the week. I'm just going to go over the top of you. Now what you're going to do. And it's that sort of belief. So you're still, and I argue about playing out from the back all the time with the gaffer. Playing out from the back for me is the goalkeeper taking a goal kick from somewhere. If playing out from the back means I go beyond, that's still playing out from the back for me, because you're playing out from the goalkeeper. If you go any further back, you're in the stand. So it's, for me, still playing out from the back. So that's where I think it's going to go, is that we will probably start to go a little bit longer. From a goalkeeping coach point of view, personally, I think we're still quite specialists, but we're starting to integrate ourselves more into the outfield bit. I think we'll see a lot of us going as goalkeeper coaches, more and more responsibilities. We won't just be goalkeeper coaches, where we basically go to compost corner and kick footballs. We'll start to integrate ourselves more with the staff, and I think as I hopefully tried to sort of sow those seeds, it's, as goalkeeper coaches, we have to be confident and resilient. I'm using those words again, but it is knowing that I've never in my life played as a number 4, and never will anymore. I'm way too old for that. So it's having that ability to go in there and coach a number 4, and that confidence to coach a number 4, and knowing that, and knowing how to do that. So that integration is part of a coaching team rather than an outfield coach, rather than in possession coach, rather than a goalkeeper coach. No, we're a coaching team. Yes, we're going to go off and do our bits, but we're going to come back in and work as a coaching team. I think that's where it's going to go. That was a long-winded answer, sorry.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Almost like you were saying, just coming back cyclically with the outfield game, making us as the goalkeeper side of things, making that react, and then that feeds it back into itself. Awesome. And then I just had a final question about ourselves as coaches and our knowledge base in terms of goalkeeping. What sort of level do you think is like a minimum requirement, if you could say, for an outfield coach to take with their licenses?
That's a great question. As in a goalkeeping coach doing his outfield licenses, or as in an outfield coach doing it?
Yeah, I meant for the outfield, but you could do it both ways.
Okay, so I would recommend anyone. I'm going to start the answer with a caveat.
Yeah,
coaching badges don't make a great coach, but then great coaches don't. So great coaches don't necessarily have great coaching badges, but bad coaches don't. We've all seen A licensed coaches, and you're thinking, how did he get his A license? But I've seen level 1 coaches thinking, wow, why is that guy not done X, Y, and Z? Why is he not further up the game? So badges don't make great coaches. Experience makes great coaches, and having that ability to know your limits and challenge yourself, I think, is a good way of doing it. I would say I really enjoyed my B license outfield. Really, it really challenged me. But I'm also aware that especially in England, they're not the cheapest things in the world. Yeah. And that's the challenge these days. If you get on a course, you're taking a mortgage out, you're probably telling the better half that you're not going on holiday this year. And it's having that challenge I've been very lucky that I've been supported by clubs but by work to do that. Not everyone is, but I'd say if you can do your B license as a minimum, and it allows you to do everything really. Trying to get onto the A license nowadays, from what talking to outfield friends, is like unbelievably difficult at the minute. There's such a backlog, but definitely any coaching course is what I'd recommend to anyone, whether that's your level 1, 2, and I know they're changing and we don't know quite what to yet. But if I go for the old school, if you do your level 1s and 2s, they give you ideas. The biggest thing for me is not necessarily the badge, but it's that continuous professional development. Doing things like this, going on webinars, going on the FA conferences that they set up, the county courses. Some are brilliant, some are not so brilliant. Some are absolutely mind-blowing. But I tell you what, you go into them and you get ideas. I'm never going to do that because I don't have 33 players to play with. But I tell you what, that's a great session, and it worked in a 5-a-side element, and we got all the. I'm going to work on that, and it just gives you those ideas and how to move your coaching further forward. So I'd say get your badges if you can, because it gives you ideas and it gives you the knowledge, but to keep learning. One of the things I remember getting told, and I almost try and pass it off as my own, is if you walk into the room and you're the smartest person in that room, you're in the wrong room. And I think that's a great analogy, is always challenge yourself and make sure you're in the right room to learn. And hopefully you can learn from others, but also learn from sort of doing stuff yourself. And reflection is something we always talk about. We plan, do, review. I guarantee we plan, I guarantee we do. How many of us actually probably do review properly? And I'll also put my hand up to that. It's only been the last 2-3 years where I've probably started recording my reviews rather than went off pitch going, that didn't work, I'll not do that again. I've actually sat down and gone, why did that not work? I didn't have that right player. That didn't work because of this. I should have put a mannequin there. And that review is absolutely key. So again, I don't know if I actually answered the question. Yes, you need coaching badges, I think, because it gives you that credibility and experience and knowledge. But the big thing is, don't get obsessed with them. 100% if you can get on your B, go and do it, because it's absolutely something that you need. Or not need, sorry, it's something that's absolutely outstanding, and I really enjoyed mine. But the big thing is continuous professional development, continuously learning and challenging yourself. Awesome. That was probably an easy way of summing up that 3-minute answer.
No, that was great. I think that's a great way to end. So Hugh, thank you so much for your time and your insights and sharing with us. Guys, thanks for watching and your questions. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something from it. So Hugh, if you can leave us with a final word, parting advice, what would that be?
Use your goalkeepers and goalkeeping coaches. We're not weirdos who stand in a corner. And especially, and if you've got a goalkeeping coach, bring them in, plan together and work as a team.
Super. Excellent stuff. Hugh, thank you so much. Guys, take care. Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time. Have a good one, everyone.
Cheers. Take care.